everybody. Welcome to Powerhouse Bakery. My name is Suzanne Parker and I'm the founder and CEO of Powerhouse Bakery. I'm a registered dietitian and I've spent most of my career, actually all of my career, helping people discover what is their healthy. So over the past, at least 20 years, people have been really trying to figure out what's better, cutting out fat, cutting out sugars, going high protein or low protein, and even now we have the vegan diet, which is no animal products at all. So lots of interesting variations that we're working with. And here at Powerhouse Bakery, my goal is to help people really learn what's best for them. And so when we are kind of tackling that question, one of the things that comes up is, what is your medical history? If you need to follow a special diet for prevention of exacerbation of a disease, like if you had heart disease or you had obesity or you have cardiovascular disease in your genetics or in your family background, those are all good reasons to decide what would be the best way to eat healthy. And also an anti-cancer diet is another really valuable discussion point that we have here at Powerhouse Bakery. And one thing I like to teach my clients all the time that are trying to follow an anti-cancer diet is cutting out sugars. So when you cut out sugars, sometimes that gets complicated because sugars are a variation of carbohydrates. And when I say variation, I really mean that it's just the lowest common denominator. It's the lowest building block of a carbohydrate. So if you're trying to cut out carbohydrates or cutting out sugars, that's when this keto diet interest starts to really become a topic of discussion. So today I want to show you how to make a very popular keto bun. In a previous talk I showed you how to make the keto bread loaf, and today I want to show you how to do the buns. They are so beautiful too. This is the keto bun. It's very soft and it's just luscious. It has a lot of the characteristics that we would think of in true bread. So watch when I slice this, it comes out just lovely. It's soft and airy on the inside. It's just got a great texture that we love and we really think of as being a bun. So how do we do this and how do we make it part of our healthy diet? And here at Powerhouse Bakery, 100% gluten-free, so that's all we do. And then we try to get some variations that are going to help our customers look at their medical conditions, their lifestyle, and really pick what foods are going to be the best choices for them. And sometimes the keto bun is a great solution. And so let me go over the ingredients with you and I'll kind of show you some variations of that too. With the keto bun, we are going to go with some almond flour, some egg whites, and even though this is H-E-B's brand, the Hill Country Fair brand of egg whites, the brand is real egg. But if you look at the ingredients, it's only egg whites. It's very misleading. So I always like to let people know that this is really egg whites. It just happens to have a brand that makes us think like it's a real egg, and it's it does have coloring added. So when we open it up, I'll show you in a second, it's going to be bright yellow. Now, we also, in this particular recipe, are going to use some apple cider vinegar. It's a great ingredient to use. Any vinegar is going to be excellent. Apple cider, again, is one of those foods we kind of think of as being super healthy. And so, of course, it's got some great qualities, but if you don't have apple cider, you could use a rice vinegar, a plain rice vinegar. Also, this recipe is going to call for some baking powder and some salt, some water. And then if you need to have some pan spray, that will also be part of our setup. And let me show you the pan that we're going to use. This is an important piece of this beautiful little bun. The way that it's shaped is part of its fun. You know, it looks like a true bun. So the shape of this pan is really helpful in getting that look. You can absolutely use a flat pan and it'll come out a little bit less shapely, but it'll work pretty well too. It'll just be a little more free form, but that will absolutely work. So just so you know, the keto diet, because it's low carb, is by default very low sugar. However, it's not low in fat. When we think of the three food groups, we have protein, carbohydrate, and fat. So if we're gonna try to take out carbohydrates, what are we left with? Proteins and fats. So the keto diet can, while it's good that it's taking out sugars, it could end up being too high in fat for you. So something just to be aware of. This particular recipe is really nice because it has fiber in it too. We use this wonderful product called psyllium husk. And so you can buy it as a fiber supplement. Sometimes doctors will recommend you take a fiber supplement, and psyllium husk is a great way to do that. It's easy to use powder. It mixes well with ingredients. In all honesty, I'm not a big advocate of just always supplementing with fiber. In general, you want to have a purpose. You don't want to just add it in just in case. If you've met with me or taken any of my classes, you know that I really believe in having a reason to add something. So you're supplementing a diet if you have a purpose for doing that. We don't want to just in case or for insurance. That way we know what we're really looking for as a result too. So this is a great fiber. Again, whenever a fiber is taken, it just means that it's not going to be absorbed by your body. So whether it's a soluble fiber or an insoluble fiber, that word itself, fiber, means that it's not going to be providing your body with carbohydrate or sugars in the normal sense. And so it's going to go through your large intestine, it's going to hang out in your large intestine and do some good things for us, which means it's going to absorb fluid, and it's going to make the waste product be softer and easier to pass. We like that. We want easy, soft stools to pass without feeling uncomfortable. And so fiber is a great way to do that. Psyllium is a nice insoluble fiber. It actually sort of adds some soluble fiber as well because of its ability to absorb water. So we really like that this recipe includes a fair amount of psyllium. So this recipe is super simple. I love the fact that there isn't much to it. We have been able to reduce the fat content quite a bit. If you saw my recipe and my cooking example for the keto bread, you noticed that we used a lot of added fat. We used butter and we used extra virgin coconut oil. With this one, check it out, we don't have that much at all. The fat is not even really coming from the egg because we're using egg whites. So the ingredients are almond flour, psyllium husk, baking powder, and salt. Another thing I love about the keto breads, both that loaf that I showed you and these beautiful buns, is that they're also yeast free. And some people, for health reasons, decide that they need to take out yeast. So the keto line of breads that we offer here at Powerhouse Bakery don't have any yeast. So the only reason why you would not want to use this particular bread is if you did not tolerate psyllium husk well. So I have had a couple of customers eat 3 or 4 of these and all of a sudden have to be in the restroom a little too much. So in moderation, it's a great way to enjoy this. But other than that, there really isn't too many allergens to be concerned about, again, because it's such a few ingredient list. Okay, so let's get started. With this recipe, we have 5 cups of almond flour, and in my past recipe, I showed you weights. Just in case you didn't have a scale, I'm just going to use dry measure this time. So we use the scoop method, and I'm just going to shake it. And you could use a knife and glide it right across to get your nice even 1 cup measure. Perfectly fine. So there's 1, 2. Now notice that this is very fine flour. The almond is just crushed up, and so you can find lots of different styles of almond flour, and you just want to make sure that you get one that's pretty fine. You'll also see some that are blanched and some that are unblanched. So that's more of a personal preference. I'm just going to put the rest in. This is the whole, I already pre-measured it for us. Okay, so that is our 5 cups. So it's a personal preference if it's blanched or not and if it's organic or not. But this is the flour that I used for today's class, and it's a really good one. But H-E-B makes a great one too. That's extra fine and it's organic and it's really nicely priced. Okay, so So there is our flour, and as normal cooking procedures, we always mix the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients separate. So what I'm going to do here is add my salt to my almond flour and also my baking soda. So we have 8 teaspoons. And here's a little quiz for you. How many teaspoons in a tablespoon? You have to email me if you know that answer. But we can make it really fast. If we didn't want to measure out 8 of these teaspoons, we could do a really fast, I'll give you the answer, 3 teaspoons per tablespoon. So add that in. Wouldn't you know, I am out of salt. No, there it is. So 3 teaspoons per tablespoon, so 3 and 3 is 6. And 2 more, 7, 8. All right, and so now we've got our baking powder. Same thing, so here is 3, 6, and 7, and 8. All right, so now we're gonna mix the dry ingredients before we add in our wet. So I like to use a whisk, but you could use a spatula. A whisk is really nice though because it makes sure that you get all those ingredients well blended. All right. Since there's not too much in there, it goes pretty fast. It's just the salt, baking powder. Now I'm going to add in psyllium husk. And that is 1 1/4 cups. So here's my beautiful psyllium. 1 1/4. I got a little measurement right there. Some of these measuring cups are so nice because you can really do everything with one. So I've got little increments there that tell me exactly where 1/4 is of that 1 full cup. All right. If you don't have a good variety of sizes of whisks, I think that's a great kitchen tool that you always want to have. And you notice here, I always use aluminum pans just because they're really light. The really pretty ones, the glass, are so fun to be able to do. But of course they're very heavy and they do break easily. So I've just gotten used to aluminum because it's so handy and they never break and they never tarnish. So it's a way to go. Okay, so there's my dry ingredients. The next are going to be my egg whites, and I'm going to have 2 cups. I'm going to put it into my second bowl here. So now I wanted to show you how interesting this egg mixture is. So see how thick it is? They have added some thickeners, and it's not a bad thing, but if you felt like you wanted to get the organic egg whites that didn't have the thickener, you could absolutely do that. So 2 cups, there's 1, and 2 cups of my egg whites. And of course this really helps that it's low in cholesterol. So when we're doing the keto diet, if there's any time that we can cut down on fats, it's probably not a bad idea, because again, this type of eating is going to be high in fats, mainly because we're cutting out so many of the carbs. So 2 cups of egg whites and 4 cups of water. So this I've pre-measured, 4 cups of water. I'm going to add that to my wet ingredients. There is my beautiful wet ingredients. And the only thing that's missing now is my apple cider vinegar. And that's going to be 2 1/2 tablespoons. So if you are a science fan like me, we know that baking powder and apple cider create a wonderful chemical reaction that gives us lots of bubbles, and that's why you saw all those beautiful bubbles when we cut into it. So 2 1/2. There we go. So that's instead of having yeast or other kind of leavening agent, we're able to do so much magic just with baking powder and the apple cider vinegar. All right, we are ready to mix our 2 ingredients together. So I'm going to gradually mix them in. see, I'm going to use my, yes. Let's see, I'm going to get you a bigger bowl. Thank you. All right, a little bit larger bowl for our mixing. And really my favorite tactic is to do a little bit at a time. I noticed my bowls were a little too full, so that's why I wanted to get you a little bit larger one so you can see those ingredients coming together. So here is our water and egg whites. There we go. I'm such an advocate of mixing gradually as you go and making sure you've got plenty of room. And you could certainly do this in a mixer if you have a large enough mixer. But you know, it's a pretty big batch. Now the recipe that I'm going to give you will be a little smaller, so you don't have to deal with quite as much flour. At HEB you can buy the fine ground almond flour, but it's kind of pricey, so it comes in 1 pound bags, and it's so nice when you can just use what you need and not have to get lots of ingredients. All right, so there we go. That is our batter for our beautiful buns. Now the nice thing is it's gonna have a real simple texture. Let me cut into one of these one more time so you can kind of see what they look like. So this one, I've put seeds on the top, and it's so pretty when you cut into it. It has this beautiful texture, so it's really soft and lovely. And again, if you wanted to add different ingredients in, you can, and you could give it a little different flavor. But see, it just slide around and it's so easy to cut. So pretty. And it's very soft and fluffy on the inside. Okay, so if you don't have a mold, that's okay. Again, you can use this same batter and put it in different little muffin pans, and that would work out great. And it wouldn't come out quite the same as a bun, but it would certainly be a little muffin style that would work as a slider. So let me show you how we're going to fill that pan. So you can buy these pans that have a little bit of mold in it, and they work out great. These pans I've seen available on Amazon, and you can get one that's half the size. And if you end up liking doing these buns, it works out great. And this little pan is also very nice if you wanted to do little mini tarts. So there's multiple uses you'll find. It's really quite fun. Okay, so I'm going to use my buttery spray. This is an allergen-friendly spray. So it's soy-free and of course gluten-free. And you see I've got lots of seeds on here. So one of my favorite things is to be able to add in lots of flavors with the seeds. And the nice thing is seeds, they fit into a keto diet. They are loaded with minerals and of course fat and fiber, and they don't add any carbohydrates. So as I've been letting it sit just for a minute, notice how it's starting to get a little bit thicker. I love the way the almond and the psyllium husk are really starting to let it get thick enough to be able to work with and hold that mold shape. So when we first stirred it in, it looked like it was pretty liquidy. And as I was mentioning, psyllium is an excellent source of soluble as well as insoluble fiber. And so when it pulls water in, that's how it's becoming a little bit thicker, and it becomes a great way to absorb water into the intestine and give our bodies all the extra hydration that we need. So I'm going to scoop this in, and we could get them exact weight, but you don't have to. You can kind of let them be free form. And notice that we've got plenty of ability to kind of mold it and make them pretty. I could see us adding in some fresh cilantro, a fantastic option here. So I'm going to just show you how nicely they form, and we can easily add some seeds. So let me add some of my favorites. Chopped almonds. You saw it there on my sample ones, we did the sesame seeds, but we could absolutely do chopped nuts. It'll give it some beautiful texture. And these will kind of bake right in and just give it a great interest on the top there. All right, so now let me also show you what we would do on a, if you didn't have a mold. I want you to see how nicely they work. Even with just a plain baking sheet that you might have at home, and it'll work just fine with your keto bun mixture. So again, because it's got a good shape, it's already holding the texture really well, you can mold your own, and you can make it like a hot dog bun, you can make it like a hoagie, and so lots of great options here. Once you get it into that shape, it pretty much stays just like you want it. And while I'm not a big advocate of eating hot dogs, I have had people ask for them, and this is what I direct them to. So there you have it. It holds up pretty well. So in summary, what I love about the keto bread options is that it gives you a way to cut all sugars and of course carbohydrates out of your diet. There's some drawbacks though. They're certainly not going to be low in fat. It's a texture that you'll have to get used to, but it's pretty popular. And once you get an idea of how you're going to fill it, you can absolutely get really fun, creative ways to go about it. This is the keto loaf. And again, we can make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. It's beautiful, soft texture. It breaks really nicely. And then, of course, our keto buns, which you can fill any way you want. And it makes a wonderful sandwich. So again, if you're going to use this keto style, I really encourage you to use lots of greens. So when you're making your sandwich, of course you can add in some cilantro or fresh thyme into the dough as you're mixing it. When you make your sandwich, make sure you put lots of spinach on there and some kale, and then add your chicken salad or your tuna salad, and you'll have a wonderful, very low carb lunch or dinner or even just a snack. So come by and see me sometime soon at Powerhouse Bakery and grab a keto bun. We always have our Fresh Bread Friday where you can come in and sample some of our items that are sort of unique like this and see if it's something for you. And then always be sure to talk with your doctor and find out if going carb-free is the best, or if you just want to cut out sugars and still have some complex carbs in your diet. That's a great way to go too. So thank you so much for coming to visit us here at Powerhouse Bakery, and I hope to see you soon.